Alright, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So I'm going to be doing something a little bit different. This will be a tier list ranking of every Pixar movie up to date. Lightyear just came out in theaters. If you guys haven't seen my video on that yet, go check my spoiler-free review for Lightyear. So for this video, there's this website called Tier Maker, and this will be all the Pixar movies. I'm going to sort them all into tiers. There'll be an S tier, an A tier, B tier, C tier, and a D tier. And I grew up watching Pixar, so I think very highly of that studio. I think they have some great to phenomenal movies. Then they also have some duds, so this will be my own personal ranking of the Pixar films. So drop down below what is your favorite Pixar movie, and if you guys enjoy videos like this, please make sure to like it. Please subscribe if you are new. But let's talk about all the Pixar movies. Alright, so this is going to be a very laid back type of video. I'm just going to go across all of them, starting at Toy Story and ending with Lightyear, sorting them all in the correct columns, or the rows, should I say. And how I'm doing that is that whichever the one's the first one to the left is like where I think is the best out of that row. So let's go and start with Toy Story. I mean, this movie's timeless. I literally just rewatched it the other day. After I saw Lightyear, I thought it'd be fun to go back and rewatch it. This is an easy yes for me. Is it the best out of the three? In my personal opinion, I mean, you'll get to see, but it's just one of the best animated movies of all time. There's something that is so special about it, so timeless about it. The voice acting, the story, the characters, the bonds, the relationship between Buzz and Woody and how they grow, how Woody's jealousy and everything. It's just perfect. It really is such a perfect movie. Now going into A Bug's Life. So I think this is the chronological order in which they've all come out. A Bug's Life is sort of tough. I grew up watching it, I think the same year as when Ants came out. If anyone's seen Ants, another Bugs sort of life story. I've rewatched them last year. I'm going to put Bug's Life in the C tier. I think it's a good movie. Do I think it's a great movie? No, I just don't think it is. It gets a little bit boring, if I remember correctly. It's really not that memorable. Like, think of like one great scene from A Bug's Life. I really can't even think of one. Now, some people may love it, and by all means, go and love A Bug's Life. But for me personally, it's just not one of Pixar's best. But it is their second, so you can't really blame them. Toy Story 2. This may be a hot take. This may be an unpopular opinion. But this is not only my favorite Toy Story movie, but it's also my favorite Pixar movie. You'll see by the end of this list, nothing will beat Toy Story 2. I think it's such a entertaining movie. Everything that I love about the Toy Story franchise is compiled into this film. We get two Buzz Lightyears. We get to see the first introduction of Zurg. We get Al's Toy Barn. We get to see when Woody, he finds out his background of Woody's Roundup, and he has to make the decision of go to Japan, the museum, and entertain all these kids, or to go back to Andy and just be his toy. We get Jesse, we get Bullseye, we get Stinky Pete. We have the airplane fight scene at the end where they're all trying to save Jesse, Zurg, and being Buzz's father, and it's so entertaining. It's so much fun from beginning to end. In the very beginning with Buzz's space mission, where it's just a computer game. I think it's just an amazing animated movie, and just puts a smile on my face. And I think it's hilarious as well. So Toy Story 2, my favorite Pixar movie, but that's just me. Monsters, Inc. It's another banger. It's less than Toy Story, but it's an S tier for me. It really is. It is another phenomenally well-made animated film. Just like the thing I love about Pixar movies, that the message that they convey onto audiences, not on a kid's level only, but on an adult level as well. I think Monsters, Inc. is sort of perfectly captures that, as we have like this Mike Wazowski character who's hilarious, definitely, a top Pixar film, as he's trying to get on the scare floor, but he just can't cut it, so he's like the manager for Sully, and Sully's like, the big man on the scare floor and everything. It's just amazing. Everything with Boo and the relationship between Sully and Boo. We have Randall, who's like the main big bad, the big twist with like the evil spider guy, who I'm forgetting his name now, but like the twist of him being like the real villain behind everything. So many memorable scenes with them hopping on the doors, the beautiful ending, one of my favorite Pixar endings, where Mike, recreates the door for him, Sully walks through, and she's like, Boo, and it's amazing. Finding Nemo, man. It's crazy because like, wow, and Incredibles next. So many of like the S tier films for me is the beginning Pixar films. Like Finding Nemo, I'm it's S. I'm not gonna lie, it's an S for me. Go back and rewatch it. It's amazing. Everything with Nemo and his stupid fin, how it's like like he has a disability, so it connects with people like that. In the very beginning, how tragic and sad it is, where his mom dies and the shark kills all of his brothers and sisters, and what's his dad's name? Marlin, who now has to go on this whole big adventure to find Nemo as he gets lost in like the vast ocean. And so he has to meet Dory, and he meets all the turtles and other sharks, and like fish are friends, not food. Like all these iconic lines and moments. Going to like the dentist office where Nemo finds all these other fish. It's just a wonderful story. It's like a wonderful adventure that definitely pulls on the heartstrings between like father and son relationship, and another perfectly well-made animated film. So now moving on to The Incredibles. So many people love The Incredibles, and before I rewatched it last year, I haven't watched it since I was a kid, and I don't remember like loving it as much as I used to. Like when I was a kid, I don't remember like having fond memories of watching The Incredibles that much. I remember having the toys. I remember when McDonald's had a line of toys of The Incredibles. I remember having the Game Boy Incredibles video game, my Game Boy, and playing that. So I guess I really was a big fan, because I do remember a lot of the toys as well. But then I rewatched it last year, and I was like, okay, this is a S tier film. I do enjoy Monsters, Inc. and Finding Nemo a little bit more. But The Incredibles is another just wonderful film. All this message about family. I love how they're sort of like this fighting family, as like the mom and dad are going through some troubles at home. Violet's sort of like coming into her own as like a preteen. The Flash is sort of trying to like figure out all of his powers. It's a really good like origin superhero film, and especially nowadays when we have all like this MCU origin movies and stuff like that. It was awesome to see a movie in I think it was early 2000s, right? I don't know if The Incredibles was 90s. Or maybe it was 99, I'm not sure. But to see like a superhero origin film before the MCU is really cool to see. And I think even they sort of play off onto this movie as well, in terms of like what the formula is for creating a family-friendly yet entertaining yet sort of like badass sort of superhero film that centers around like this team dynamic. So The Incredibles is incredible, right? So now, is this the first Cars? First Cars, man. This is tough. I'm teetering between a low S or an A. I think I'm gonna go A. I think I'm not a huge Cars fan, but I am like a big Cars fan. I remember again playing with all the toys, playing again video games. I feel like back in the day there was video games for like every movie. So a lot of my memories come from like playing the video games as well, because I was a big like gamer, I guess. But Cars is again a good story, and who would have thought it'd be a good story? Like just a whole movie about talking cars. But it's not even just about talking cars. It's actually a good story of like, it's almost like The Wrestler by Darren Aronofsky, like someone who was so big in the limelight, who now has to like sort of ground himself as he comes out of that spotlight. Like he gets lost into like this town. He's trying to get back, but he needs to like, fix the road that he messed up first. Very cocky character who has to sort of become more humble, and has some great character development as he falls in love with the Porsche. And then we got Doc and his whole story about also being someone who is so big, and then one injury makes him sort of like not be remembered anymore. So again, it sort of has like that sports dynamic of like a deeper look into like what some sports athletes might have to deal with in terms of like being in such a big limelight and then sort of coming back down to earth, and like what that sort of is like. And then when you have the Mater comedy to it, it really is a really, really great animated movie. All right, so now we got Ratatouille. Ratatouille, man. So many people love this movie. Like so many. All of a sudden, I feel like everyone's like, Ratatouille is the best Pixar movie. Like everyone agrees. Like, yeah, Ratatouille is so great. Growing up, never a Ratatouille fan. I was never, ever like someone that thought Ratatouille was like one of the best Pixar movies. I think I might have actually disliked it when I first watched it. Now, when I first watched it, I was a kid, right? I rewatched it last year, and I see it, man. It's actually a wonderful story. I love it a lot. For me personally, I know people might have it like here. Like some people think it's the best Pixar movie like ever, and I can see why. For me, it's actually not even in the S tier. I'm actually gonna put it behind Cars. I'm sorry. I love it. It's an A tier type movie. I just think Cars is better, and it's not on the same tier as those right there, as Toy Story, Monsters Inc., Nemo, or The Incredibles. I just don't think it's there for me. When I look back in the movie, I love like how well made it is in terms of like the beautiful music, in terms of like looking at the food and like cooking the food. It's a nice story of like a man who wants to become a chef but doesn't really have the talent, relying on this animal or like this rodent, this rat who just knows how to cook and plays with his hair and makes the food. And it's like a nice dynamic there. And there's some other things that play too. There's a love interest, and then there's like him trying to figure out, the main character trying to figure out like what his actual lineage is and like who he's related to and all that stuff I love. And then even like the food critic who like has to also be humble that he's like a very cocky and strict critic who ends up, I love the ending when Ratatouille makes him, well, not Ratatouille, Remy makes him the Ratatouille meal and he remembers all his fond memories. It is very nice. I just think Cars is a little bit more, and The Incredibles. Like, I don't really know what else to say. Like, I love it. It's a great movie. I just think it's not the best Pixar movie, like how so many people think it is. And now I have to talk about WALL-E next. This is another one where I feel the same way as Ratatouille. I remember seeing WALL-E in theaters. I remember loving it. I think as a kid, it didn't hit me as strong as it does when I'm an adult, because that movie has a lot of adult themes in terms of like humans and evolution and like our place on this earth and where we go like after it. So as an adult, there's a lot to dissect there. And as a kid, there's a lot to have fun with as well. Like WALL-E doesn't really talk. He just like says WALL-E and Eva and everything. And it's fun. Again, some people have it here. Some people have it as the best Pixar film. And, the cinematography is astounding. Like I said, like that real life evolutionary sort of themes is amazing. But I actually like, I like Ratatouille more. I do. I like Ratatouille more. I like Cars more. I like Incredibles more. I like Nemo, Inc., Toy Stories more. But WALL-E is really great too. And I think that as I watch it more, it'll grow on me more. But like there's more to these other films than there is to WALL-E for me. The WALL-E Eva relationship is funny. Them trying to get like the boot with the grass. Them trying to convince, the main fat guy that the AI is controlling him. Again, it has good themes about AI and how much we rely on them and they could take control and manipulate us, A lot of good themes there. I love that. Definitely draws from 2001: A Space Odyssey. But in terms of like Pixar films, like what I want to get out of them and stuff, great movie. A-tier movie, phenomenal. Just, I like certain ones a little bit better. Jesus Christ. And now we got Up. Again, Up, some people have it here. And I think on an emotional level, at least in terms of that one scene that everyone talks about, it's emotionally like here. Is it on the S tier for me? No. But I actually like it more than Cars. Like, I'll put it here in front of Cars. I think I like it a lot. And when I look back on it, I actually can't pull away too many elements that I like besides the sad relationship between Ellie and the old man, and then also the old man and the little kid. Their relationships are all good. But when I go back and I rewatch it, I remember so many things I forgot. You have like the funny dog character. You have them trying to like, go to the place where his wife wanted to live. And when he gets there, like what it isn't what he thought it was. Or like the person that he looked up to isn't who he thought he was as well. So there's a lot to like about it. And if a movie can really make me cry and make me feel emotional and make me resonate and connect with their characters on like a deep level, that goes a long way for me. Like I don't want to say I feel more for the characters in Up than I do for Ratatouille and WALL-E. Like I resonate with them all a little bit more. So that's why I have Up here in the A tier. It's not an S tier for me yet. Maybe one day. So now this is Toy Story 3, man. I remember seeing this in theaters and just what an experience. I put Toy Story 3 right here in the S tier. I think like I said, Toy Story 2 ain't going anywhere. I do think the third one's better than the first. There's a lot to the third to talk about in terms of like, Andy sort of like abandoning his toys, but he's just going to college. He wanted to put them up in the attic, but then they have to go on this whole adventure as the mom takes them out, mistaking it for trash. So now they have to go on this whole adventure to get back to Andy, but then they bump into Bonnie and they bump into Lotso, and they have to try to get out of the daycare, which is so much fun. And then all the new characters are actually really good, like Lotso, like the big baby, Ken, They're very entertaining, very funny characters. Buzz going into Spanish mode. The incredible, fantastic third act where we think like these characters like might die. Like when they're all holding hands going into the fire. Like who would have thought to write that into some sort of kids movie? So that was amazing. The claw saving them. Then at the end where they're with Bonnie and they sort of accept it. Or no, Andy, they go back to Andy. Woody's going to go to college. Then he ends up hiding in the box. So when Andy goes to Bonnie, like all of a sudden Woody's just like in the box and Andy's like, do I really have to part like with this toy? And why, like, as you'll see here, these three Toy Story movies won't move from their spots. Nothing will replace them because I was someone who grew up with playing toys. Toys were some of the biggest memories I have as a kid, was playing with all these toys. So like these movies resonate with me like on such a deep level. So like at the end when Andy has to like depart with his toys and he goes to college and like Bonnie puts the wave up for Woody and Andy's like sort of like taken aback, like seeing Woody say goodbye, like that will destroy me every single time I watch it. It will literally absolutely pummel me into a pool of tears. It is the best Pixar ending ever. And it really is the perfect ending to the Toy Story franchise. As we see, they do a little bit more, which we'll get to, but the Toy Story trilogy, my favorite trilogy of all time, and 3 is definitely like one of my favorite movies, even in general. So now Cars 2, we just had a whole slate of amazing Pixar movies. We're about to get into the funky era now of Pixar. Cars 2, putting it right here. What an absolute waste of a sequel. You're going to just make Cars 2, which like I said was like this deep look into maybe like sports athletes and how they have to be humble after coming up from being like this very prideful, cocky superstar. That's what Cars 1 was about. Now Cars 2 is a spy film, like a James Bond type of spy film. It just doesn't work. It makes no sense. Yes, it's like fun, entertaining for kids maybe, but it's just a bad movie. There's really nothing here to really grasp onto or connect with. It's really just a waste of a sequel that should have never been made. I remember playing this video game. They had a Cars 2 video game as a kid. Super fun video game. Video game was much better than the movie. The movie just sucks. So now we got Brave. And Brave is a little tricky because I don't think Brave is a D. But it's definitely not a B. And I would say Bug's Life is better. I would put Brave in the C tier. It's a fine movie. There's some like nice things about like her coming into her own as like a woman who's good at like archery and like she's like better than everyone else. Her relationship with her father is sort of fun. Like I don't remember a lot of this movie. I just remember that her mom turns into a bear and it's like a bear, like they have to like do, I don't even know what they have to do. I sort of forgot a lot about this movie. I just remember thinking it's very mid. It's a very mid Pixar movie. And I would definitely take a Bug's Life over it. So now Monsters University. For Monsters University, I'm going to put it, this will be the first B tier movie. When I first saw this, I think I didn't love it. Like I don't think I liked it that much. I think maybe I thought it was unneeded. But when I rewatched it, it's actually a lot of fun. It has like a good vibe. It's a prequel that, like I said, is probably not needed, but it also elaborates a lot on the Mike Wazowski character and like how he gets to where he is and sort of is accepting of like his role on the scare floor. Seeing Sully is good. The side characters are actually a lot of fun. The whole like college campus atmosphere, they have to play all these games. Mike Wazowski's still fighting to like become a scare. Like he wants to become a scare throughout the whole movie, even though we know that he doesn't. It's still fun to see like how does he end up accepting that and coming into his own. So I do like Monster University a lot. I think this is a fair place to put it at the B tier. It's definitely not A. I don't think it's with those A movies I have up there. But it's definitely a step above A Bug's Life and Brave. So I'm good with Monster University there. Inside Out. Wow. Inside Out, man. I'm teetering between putting it at B. Like, if it's at a B, it'll probably be like the first B. Or if it's an A. And I think I'm going to go put it at a B for now. For now. Some people love Inside Out. Again, some people have it at the S tier. I think I just don't resonate with it as much as I should. It's a movie that really swung for the fences in terms of like relatability, as it's about all the feelings that go on inside of your head as we deal with happiness and sadness and anger and embarrassment and jealousy and spite or whatever the heck the other characters are. So On a kid's level, I think they can connect with it a lot, as they're growing up with all these different hormones. They have all these different feelings. Like, how do they process that, or like what's going on in their head? It sort of like explains that in like this fun character way. We have like the Bing Bong character, like the imaginary friend that a lot of people had growing up. Imaginary friends and making up all these different sort of characters, and like sort of like losing out on that and seeing like them mess up the stuff in her head, and the main character have to like make all these decisions that again are messed up because of her feelings. It's a fun, entertaining movie. I think it's just not like, I don't think the story is like an A-tier story. Like when I look at like WALL-E and Ratatouille and Cars and Up, I think the stories are very deep and meaningful. The Inside Out story it's a deep and meaningful story. I just didn't resonate with it as much as I would like to. Her coming back to her parents sort of realizing, because she runs away, right? And she runs away and they're trying to find her. It's just, I just don't love it. That's it. But it's a great Pixar movie. It is. So now The Good Dinosaur. I used to love The Good Dinosaur, which is pretty funny because it has like that sad moment of like losing the father, which is very Lion King-esque. Is it a D tier movie? No. Maybe. Some people probably do have it at a D tier. I don't think it's that bad. I do think it's a step above Cars 2. I think I'm actually going to put it at the C tier. But it's going to be probably like the last C for me. It's just like, I don't really think it's like that well made. And it, even like the main character's name, what's his name? Starts with a W or something like that, right? He's like not like a very likable character. He has like an annoying voice, and it's like he comes into contact with this caveman little kid, which it has some good moments there in terms of like silliness, and then him trying to find his own family. They're both trying to get back to their families, and at the end when they do, it's a very nice moment. But like everything in between is just like it's fine. It's like they run into like the pterodactyls or whatever those big birds are. Someone gets taken away. I like when the kid has like hallucinations of his father. There's some like deep sort of like dreamy like scenes there that I enjoy. But everything else is just like he's like being annoying. He's like yeah, and the caveman kid can't really talk. He's just like barking at him. He names him Spot, and like it's like whatever. I used to like it a lot. Now I don't like it as much. So I'm fine putting it here. And now that I think about it a little more, I'm actually gonna put it in front of Brave. I think there's more to it than Brave for me personally. Okay, so now moving on to Finding Dory, another maybe like unneeded sequel, but I actually had a lot of fun with it. Maybe this is a hot take, I don't know. But I'm gonna put it in the B tier, probably the last B tier. But I rewatched it last year and I do like it. I think it's pretty funny. Looking back on it, I don't remember too much besides the fact of like I like how they focus on like the Dory. Now I have to like really remember Finding Dory. Oh yeah, they go to the aquarium and all this stuff. Like she meets it's like the whales, stuff like that. I can't remember the fucking story now. Finding Dory. Okay, I remember now. Yeah, it's like the sequel. She reunites with like Marlin and Nemo, and they have to find out more about like her past and her parents or whatever, right? I like how they're like flashbacks of when Dory was like a little kid and like her actually like seeing her parents, and like it's sort of trying to figure out like what actually happened to her. And I think that was something that was touched on in Finding Nemo, but like we never really knew much about Dory in that movie, right? So I like how they try to give her some more of a background and further explain her character, and I think it worked out pretty well. So Find Dory here at B, fine with it. Cars 3. I honestly think it's worse than Cars 2. Some people think it's better than Cars 2. I think Cars 3 is worse than Cars 2. There's really nothing I can even say about Cars 3. I barely remember it. Is this the one where it's the international one, right? Where he fights he races like the Grand Prix. I remember the poster being like this big thing of like, are they gonna kill Lightning McQueen, as like the broken poster of him up in the air, and it's like he's on fire and stuff like that. It's just like, I just don't think it's that good. Cars 3. It's terrible actually, the more I think about it. And the fact that I can't remember much about it just goes to show you how like an unmemorable like sequel that this was. Totally unneeded. Coco now. Coco. This will be very surprising for a lot of people, but I'm going to explain to you why I feel this way. Coco's right here for me. It's my fourth favorite Pixar movie. So, I am half Italian and I'm half Peruvian. So the Spanish elements for this film, I resonate with a lot. I'm not really close to my Spanish side, but like with my grandmother who recently passed away, and my grandfather, I look highly upon them and their culture, and to see like the same sort of music in here and the same sort of characters in the movie, like I said, I resonate with that. How they deal into like the afterlife, and how like the ones that we love aren't really ever gone. They just sort of go somewhere else, and to tap into that world and sort of further connect with it, I appreciate. Again, very adult themes there, talking about death and the afterlife. Some people may not want to introduce their kids to all that stuff yet. But I think this movie is very fun manner in which they do it, with the Dia de los Muertos sort of vibe to it. I love the journey he has. I see he gets stuck in the afterlife trying to make his way back home. It's a bunch of twists about like who he thinks his father is, who his father really is. Then we have like the Mama Coco stuff at the end, which again will make me cry even more. I haven't watched it recently. I know that if I watch it again recently, I'm gonna really, really cry. But the last time I watched it, it was an ugly cry. It was one of those you gotta like cover your face and really just let it all out. And like I remember, like it just wouldn't stop. I cry so much because the music's so good, and it's one of those songs that resonate with you. And at the very end, where like he's dancing and he's reunited with his family, like the ghosts of his family are like surrounding him, and like the song is saying that like, what's the song? It's like our love for each other will like live on forever. That like, even though someone that you love is gone, the love you guys shared will always remain, and that's always something that's real. So I think it's just like a beautiful message, beautiful movie. Definitely maybe the movie that resonates with me like the most of any movie ever. Like it makes me feel so emotional in a way that I don't think any movie ever has. So that's why for me, like I said earlier, if a movie can make me cry or connect or resonate with the characters, then I'll really, really deeply love it. And I think that Coco just does that for me. Is it better than the Toy Story franchise? For me personally, no. Like I said, those aren't going anywhere. But Coco's amazing. Very special movie for me. A movie that I hold very close to my heart. So now, The Incredibles 2. I remember when I first saw Incredibles 2 in theaters, I went with my friends, and we were high, and I don't even think I saw the full movie. I think we walked out at some point, not because we didn't like it, just because we were high and dumb and stuff. So, but I rewatched it last year, and it is right here. I actually like it more than Inside Out. I think it's a really fun sequel, and not only that, I actually think it's the most well-looking Pixar movie like I've ever seen. I think it's like the animation and the cinematography and the way the movie actually looks is like wonderful. Like it's beautiful looking. It's like an eye-gasm. It's amazing. The animation in that movie. The story is also pretty cool. Like it's takes place like right after the first Incredibles. So we have like all these new villains. We have like all these new superheroes. Again, I can't really remember too much about like the themes of the movie. Like trying to think back on it now. But I remember like Mrs. Incredible sort of coming into her own. Mr. Incredible sort of being jealous of like how much they trusted her, how much they wanted to use her for the crime fighting aspect, and like her being like the face of the superheroes, and Mr. Incredible sort of have to accept the dad role, and that being hard for him with the kid and math and all that stuff. I thought it was really funny. So Incredibles 2 right here at the B. Toy Story 4. This will be a fun one to talk about. Not D. It's not C. I don't think it's S or A. I think it's here at the B, and it's actually like, I think it's right here at the B. When I first saw Toy Story 4, I thought it was a good movie. I didn't think it was great. I felt like it was super unneeded and didn't really give me what I wanted. I didn't understand like the Woody's journey part of it at first. I was like, when it ended, I was like, so Woody just leaves all of his friends. I was like, so Woody just leaves them all to go off with Bo Peep and that's it. And like, there's no Andy. I want to see Andy. Like, that was my one problem with Toy Story 4 is that like, it's not like I love the characters, but like that's not like who I resonate with. Like I resonate with Andy and like his love he has for the toys. That's why like Toy Story 3 like hits me hard in terms of like the sad moments towards the end there. So when Toy Story 4 didn't have Andy at all, which it was never supposed to be, it was never promoted to have that. That was like my own selfish thing. Star Wars fans want to see cameos. Like I wanted to see Andy. So I was mad to not see him. But when I rewatched it last year, I had a very different outlook on the movie. I liked it a lot more. I understood what they were trying to do with Woody, because Woody was someone who never really accepted himself for like who he was. He felt like he was a toy and he needed to have an owner in order to be fulfilled in life. So it's this whole movie is really about his character journey into, at the end, accepting that he doesn't need an owner in order to be happy or to be fulfilled in life. Like, he can be free. Now, it makes me laugh thinking about that because, like, this is a toy. This is an inanimate object that a movie is, putting emotions and feelings into. But people can resonate with this character. Even though he is a toy, we can connect with what he's going through in terms of maybe relying on someone else to be fulfilled, or wanting to be in a relationship in order to, be fulfilled in life, or to have some sort of meaning in your life. And this movie's sort of saying, like, you don't really need that. You can go and be free and be whoever you want, and that's enough for yourself. Like, love yourself first before you attach yourself to other things, So, again, a fun movie, a very well-made animated movie. I think the animation's also great. You got Forky in there. He has his own little nice journey of also sort of discovering himself. Thought that was nice. Trying to think about, like, Buzz and the other characters aren't really in the forefront here, which again makes me a little bit mad because, like, I liked all of them together. It's really like Woody's journey, which is cool. It's like a nice little send off for the characters as well, as Woody says goodbye to Buzz. But I think Toy Story 5 will eventually come one day. I think even if, we can make, you've seen Star Wars, we can, like, pretty much bring back actors from the dead at this point. Like, no one's ever really gone. Like, people, as technology gets more advanced, who knows? Maybe a Toy Story 5 movie be announced where they're just having AI voices of Tom Hanks and Tim Allen, which nobody would like, but you never know. This world's getting pretty crazy. All right, so now we have Onward. I love Onward, actually. Damn. Is it? It might be right here. Actually, no, it's not. It's not there. It's more like here. Onward. When I first saw it, I loved it. It was actually like one of the first movies I saw before COVID, I think. Like right before COVID hit, I'm pretty sure is when Onward like came out, like a couple months before it. And I remember going to the movie theaters, and it was like the first movie I saw like by myself in theaters. And I liked it a lot. It's a lot of fun. We got Tom Holland there, Chris Pratt voicing it. My favorite dynamic about this movie is the older brother, younger brother relationship. I'm someone who is an older brother, so if you've seen this movie, like the ending really hit me hard. And it also plays into like that father-son sort of dynamic as well, which I'm a sucker for. Like any movie that plays into like a father and a son relationship and makes it emotional, like I will eat that up. Like I will cry, I will resonate with it. It'll hit me hard. So at the very end of this movie, when it's wow, it really makes me like emotional just thinking about it. So now I'm remembering the whole movie now, and the younger brother realizes that his older brother has been like the father figure for him, sort of growing up, and so when he has that 1 minute with his father at the end, he decides to give it to his older brother because he didn't have an older brother. He didn't have a father because the father's been dead, right? So he lets the older brother have the minute with him because he realizes like he had someone like that in his life and it was him. So he let the brother have like his moment with his father. It really is a wonderful story. I enjoyed it a lot. Just this video is making me cry now thinking about all these. That's why I love Pixar though. Like they're so what's the word I'm thinking about? Like they care so much for like the movies that they make. I know recently, like I'll talk about some movies, but like most of these movies are really like there's just you can feel the care in all of them. You can feel the thought process that went into the writing and the characters and the music and how they want to make you feel, and like they do a great job at really like pulling on the heartstrings and making a movie that's like bigger than life, make you think about life and what you've been through and stuff like that. So Onward, I really enjoy. It's not A tier for me. Like I think these four are really good here in the A, but it's a good B tier. Inside Out is great. I do like Inside Out, but I like it better than Onward. So I'm good with it here. Soul. Now we're moving into some of the newer ones. Soul, man, I really love Soul. I think for right now, I'll put it here. Yeah, for right now, I guess I'll put Soul right here. I love Soul. It's another one that's deals with the afterlife. It deals with your place in this world, about acceptance, about going after your dreams and realizing like what's important, like what isn't. And I love that type of stuff. So another well animated movie. I might actually even put it above Cars now that I think about it more, because it's like a tale of two movies. Like at first, it's like his journey to want to become a musician, and then like he just dies out of nowhere, and that's something that's true. Like you could die at any moment, you know. Like the chances are low, but like a plane could come through this window right now and take me out, or you know, a stray bullet could come and just take you out, or you could be driving and get into a car accident, or you're playing or whatever, you know. Like so that's why like the movie makes you not want to take life for granted. It makes you want to live. It makes you realize that all the little moments in this life matter, especially towards the end where, you know, like even like the little leaf comes down, and he realizes that just even the littlest thing is so beautiful in this world, and we shouldn't take the time that we have, the minuscule time we have in this earth, for granted. So, very deep movie, a movie maybe you don't want to show your kids when they're younger, but also a lot of fun. Is they sort of like they try to explain the afterlife, you know, if there is one. And I remember the ending, I think I said I would have changed, even though I like the ending a lot now thinking about it. But when I first saw it, because he has to make the decision, right? He's going up into the afterlife or to heaven, right? And he has a choice, and they say, do you want to go into the afterlife, or we'll give you one more chance to live? And so he takes the chance to live again, which is nice. But I thought it also would have been equally nice if he just turned down the chance, realized this was his time to go, and went into, you know, a better place. And I think that would have also had like a good meaning as well. Would have been a little bit darker for kids, I guess. Would have had a good meaning of like, when it's a person's time to go, like it's their time to go, don't be sad. They'll be fine. They're going to a better place. Like it's a nice, I guess, more religious sort of look into, you know, death. But another, I think it makes me cry, that movie as well towards the end. I can't remember. But beautiful movie. And it not only deals with, like I said, all the afterlife stuff, but him becoming a musician and wanting to go after his dreams is really nice as well. So now we have Luca. I like Luca a lot. I think it's a high B. For right now, I'll put it there at high B. Another really cool animated movie, just by the way it looks, like the way they depict the water and like the sort of new animation for it is really nice. It is sort of like a gay allegory, I guess, which they don't tap into too much, but if you really look at it, you can like sort of get that out of the film. And especially like him being like this sea monster sort of type of thing plays into it, as nobody really accepts him for that. I haven't seen Luca in a long time. I just remember really liking it when I first saw it. I'm trying to think if I cried or not during it. I don't think I did. But now it's a movie I'm just like sort of trying to forget, or I'm forgetting, not trying to forget. But I just remember liking it a lot. I think I liked it more in Toy Story 4. But yeah, I'm fine putting it here at the very front B. I don't think it's an A at all. So now Turning Red. This might be the hottest take on this list, because people love Turning Red. Putting it right there. D for me. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. It was just it wasn't for me. I hated the dialogue. You know, it's really hard to talk about without probably coming off like offensive, because I don't want to say the movie's cringe, because I get why people like it. It's about, again, another coming into your own, coming of age story, as like every time she's angry, she turns into this red panda, which connects like to her grandmother and her background and all this stuff. I just didn't like the vibe of the movie, or like even the story. So then by the end, where like some good things start to come in towards the end, I remember like her flashback, like that hallucinogenic dream where she talks to her grandmother type of thing was nice. I was already lost by then. I already just didn't really care about the movie when that happened. So that moment didn't really hit me that hard. Like I said, I don't want to say the movie was cringe. You know, I don't want to use that word, but like it kind of was for me. Like when they say something like my panda, my choice at the end. Like, I don't know, like some weird moments that I'm just like, what is this? Like, I just didn't like it, you know? They talk about like, I know that like periods and tampons like are a normal thing to talk about now. Like, and I remember like back in the day, like guys used to not want to say it, and I get, like, I know from a girl's point of view, it probably comes off as like offensive, makes them feel, you know, gross or like whatever, and like it's not right. Like guys shouldn't be saying any of that. But like in a Pixar film, they just like start throwing all this stuff in, and like this movie does feel like an allegory for like girls having their periods, which is, you know, fine, I guess, for a Pixar movie. But then she starts like selling herself as a panda, like start taking pictures as like a panda. So it's like if it is an allegory for a period, like then what the hell is that? You know, so it's like the movie just kept throwing me off at that point. Because sometimes I felt like I knew like what the theme was in the movie and like the message, and then a scene would happen, I'd be like, well, that doesn't really fit in with like what I think the movie is about. So like maybe I just kept getting lost. So maybe I just need to like do some research on it, read some articles maybe, and rewatch it, and maybe I'll like it more. But yeah, I just don't like Turning Red. Like I really didn't like it at all. So it's not as bad as Cars 2 or 3, but I didn't like it. So now Lightyear. Where does Lightyear stand in the Pixar list? Definitely not an S. I will say that. It's not an A. But I did really like it. And I think it's I think it's a B. I think it's a strong B. It's just I don't think it's as good as like Finding Dory and it's tough, man. I don't think it belongs in the C tier. I don't think it was that bad. I know some people are saying it is unneeded. I think the second act is going to lose a lot of people because the second act is repetitive and boring. But I did like what they did with Zurg. I know some people hate what they did with Zurg. I would have done it differently. I would have made it his actual father. But to make it like this interstellar, thing, I don't want to spoil it for anyone that hasn't seen Lightyear. I did enjoy the twist of it. The first acting was strong. I did like the connection between the two space rangers, Hawthorne and Buzz. I thought their relationship really pulled on the heartstrings. It was the emotional aspect of the movie. The story of like him being lost on this planet and trying to get back to Earth, but they couldn't have the whatever it was, so they have to like make their own, and he's testing it out, but every 4 years goes by, so like everyone else is aging while he's going on all these test runs and he just wants to get back home. It was a fun story. Like I actually enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty thought-provoking and nice. The second act was just where it lost a lot of people, I think. It was just too repetitive, too boring. Side characters weren't that entertaining or that funny or cool. But the third act was strong for me. I thought the action was good, animation was good. What I wanted to see from Zurg and Buzz like came into fruition in the third act, so that's why I look highly upon the film, because I think the third act was really well done. And then by the end, it was just a fun movie, and I liked it. Now, will my opinion change when I watch like in a home setting? Probably. It might go down a point or two, but I think it stays as like a good compliment to the Toy Story franchise. Was it needed? No, not needed at all. We didn't need to see this. But it does make sense though, because as we learned in Toy Story 2, Woody was made from a TV show character, like from Woody's Roundup. So where was Buzz from? Buzz came from this guy, the real life Lightyear movie. So it made sense that like a movie like this was out there. The fact that we got to see the movie, cool. I like it. So this is my ranking for the Pixar movies. Longer video than I wanted it to be. But comment down below anything you guys would make changes from here. What would you put above? What would you put down under? Anything you disagree or agree on, let me know your favorite, like I said earlier. And if you guys enjoy videos like this, I had a lot of fun making this. Please make sure to like it. Please subscribe if you're new. But I'll see you all next video. Have a great rest of the day.